Warning: the following episode contains spoilers. And be sure to follow our podcast on these available platforms.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Nocturnal Movie Club. Welcome to 2023. We are back. I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, as always, Jake, Josh, and Ethan. What's up, guys? Welcome back.
Welcome
How y'all
back.
doing,
Hello.
guys?
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
What did you
New
guys get
season.
into this New Year's?
It was watching the silent version of The Wizard of Oz, followed by Jackbox games and a round of Mario Party. And then the day
Okay.
after that,
That's good.
it was the Polar Bear Plunge and the One Chip Challenge. So it was a busy start for the new year.
Poor soul.
Yeah.
One chip
Wow.
challenge.
Ethan, you were partying up down in the village?
No, I was taking a break from doing all of that for once and
Oh.
uh just staying at home, and I watched Black Adam. So it made me realize I should never take a break.
Oh, we're starting to shade off early here.
Yeah.
Josh, what about you? What did you get into?
I went to the midnight ball at the McKittrick Hotel with my girlfriend,
Oh,
and
nice.
we
I've heard nice things about
danced,
the
and
Midnight Ball.
it was a lot of fun. It was just
Nice.
dancing and drinking and cabaret and drag queens and more drinking. A lot of drinking.
I was in Miami. I was like, oh, what am I gonna do for New Year's? I flew down to Miami like the morning of and was just like, all right, let's party in Miami. And then I like went to a party, something like to like 7 a.m. or something like that. It was
Nice.
just insane. I just got back like this morning. And
Damn.
I've been like a nonstop like drink, party favors, drink. Um, you know, we support safe drinking and driving here. And, as esteemed colleagues of the media, we support soberness.
Mhm.
100%.
Oh yes.
Yes. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and fly anything. Be over 21. And Natty Bow Light stuff.
Yeah, most
Exactly.
importantly, don't drink and drink. Know your limit.
Mm,
And
yes.
know which
Yes.
alcohol hits you the right way. I love whiskey. I'll take scotch. Vodka is bad. Do not drink vodka.
And God help you if you come across mezcal.
Yep.
But tequila.
Amen. Oof. All right, so now we are here to count down our top five best movies and top five worst movies of the year of 2022. There were a lot of shit shows, and there was a lot of great gems. So let's go through it. 2022 was an interesting year for the cinema. Jake, start off with your top five best of 2022.
Top five best. Okay, this was a very hard list to narrow down because the ones that I have seen I really like. There's a lot that I want to mention, but for the sake of this, I'll narrow it down to five. I would say number five was Jackass Forever.
Yes.
Yeah. Number four would be Triangle of Sadness.
Okay.
Number
Also good.
Yeah, solid.
number three would be Top Gun Maverick. Number two would be Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and for my number one, it's a tie. Like
Oh,
I really can't choose between these two. It's Tar and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
mm.
Hmm. That's pretty
So
good.
what?
I mean, those were definitely on my top 10, but I don't know if they were making it in my top five.
Yeah, I mean,
I
like
would.
there's still so many great movies like that were released that year that I need to see, like Babylon and The Fablemans, but I couldn't get to them in time. So this is based off of everything I've seen.
I want to bring up like Triangle of Sadness because I did really enjoy that film just because I found it hilarious. And I mean, it's probably Woody Harrelson's best roles, and it's probably got one of the most like satisfying taking down of rich people and class systems ever. I mean, the whole like if you have an H&M face, or if you have a like whatever that fancy brand was that they mentioned, like showing Happy Story. my main only issue reason, my main concern with it is that Ruben Östlund, I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong. He's known for really dark and biting comedy. It felt like the targets were too easy.
Hmm.
I
It's
agree.
like
Like I think that's Woody's best role since True Detective, honestly. I haven't seen Woody perform so well in a while, and based on partially because of material he's had, but
Yeah, you want to see a good role with Woody Harrelson, like
strong
after
role.
True Detective, Edge of 17.
mm.
I
Who
like Chelsea.
who is the actor that was the I so shit? Because he was amazing.
You know, it's funny. I recognized him from somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I
Like,
gotta look.
was it the guy from 2012?
Yeah, it was the same guy who was the same like stereotypical Russian that was trying to like sneak his kids out and then push them out of the boat when they couldn't fit.
Hmm.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, he's
because like
been acting forever. I can't say his name, Zlotlo Burek or something. It's
yeah, like,
Yeah.
let me see if I
And
can
something
find
else I
it
need to
too.
mention about Triangle of Sadness too. It has like probably one of the greatest sequences of puking ever put on cinema.
Cinematic puking at its finest.
Yeah, just that one that old lady who's like not only does she have to throw up, but then she has to roll over and then throw up again. Like I'm kind of interested to see like the rehearsal they had to do that.
I love the dialogue between the two, like Carl and Yaya, Harris.
Hmm.
Like I think those scenes were like probably my favorite. Like it was just so authentic. I think she's great. I'd never heard of her or seen her before, but I thought she was amazing.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And Charlie B. Dean, yeah, she was incredible. I hope she gets a lot of work after this.
Yeah, she was mostly in the directed DVD world. Like she was in the main thing I did kind of recognize her from Death Race 3, but this was like very much her breakthrough. And I'm happy for her. Like this was an interesting way to break into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great role. I hope she gets a lot of like love for this one because I think carried for the most part the
Oh,
film.
absolutely.
It was all her, and she knocked it out the park.
Oh, actually I just checked. She actually passed away.
Oh shoot.
Oh,
Huh?
film
Yeah, she
went
passed away in August of this year. Um
Mm.
yeah, it was an unexpected illness.
Oh,
So this
Wait,
was her
what?
final role.
wow.
Whoa! What a
Yeah,
note.
this was yeah, like this was her last role. It was
I
really
mean,
it was yeah, it came out posthumously. It actually came out, I think, it came out after she died,
well, what a note to end on. Wow.
honestly. Like she went out on I mean,
On a high,
on a
yeah.
high note. Because she was really magnetic. Like especially in the scenes when she was with her boyfriend. I remember when she was with her boyfriend in the restaurant and she just assumed that he would pay for the meal because that's what she was used to. She
Yeah,
just
that was my
gave
favorite scene.
That was hilarious. And she gave off this very vibrant, stuck up energy of like she's just used to this and she doesn't question it because she expects to be treated this way. Like it was real like she was very charismatic. And I'm glad like she got to actually show that.
Yeah.
Whoa, I can't believe that. Well, she's like only 32, my age.
oh wow.
Wow. Well, all right. Well, RIP to Charlie B. Um, Jake, take us through your top five worst films of the year.
Okay, now I'm scrolling all the way down to my letterbox because I have it sorted by rating.
Oh,
So from five, okay, so from my number five worst, like would be Jurassic World Dominion.
Hmm.
Number
hmm,
four would be Halloween Ends.
that's on
Really?
mine.
I actually liked it.
I
I
have my
just saw it on the
reasons.
plane on the way back to New York, honestly, and it was like I was like, please end me as well. Seriously. Like,
Well,
Nah,
ends is in the title. It would be over eventually.
I'm sorry. I did like it. I thought that, I mean, spoilers, but it's been around for a while, so if you haven't watched it, too bad. The whole notion of who the actual killer was going to be in the film, I thought that was very audacious. Like, it could have been
yeah,
set
that
up
all that
better.
was
Like maybe,
great.
and like I thought they could have set it up better. Like maybe tease it in the previous films or something, so there was more of a buildup. But I thought the way they showed him slowly growing into a serial killer with Michael's influence and having Michael almost be like kind of a
Mentor.
mentor role,
Yeah.
it fed into what was already set up for him being this embodiment of evil rather than not necessarily supernatural, but definitely giving off an aura and an influence, which ties into how he was presented in the original Halloween. I thought that was handled subtly but well. Like it wasn't my favorite horror film of the year, but I thought that a lot of people's issues with just the fact that it's different, it's a bit clunky, it's a bit messy. I thought it was a bit much, and I know there's talk about it probably having the same reputation that Season of the Witch had, where everyone hated it when it came out, and then it grew the cult following. I think Halloween Ends will probably have that same journey.
Well, I don't know if I would agree entirely with that because in regards to Halloween 3, like they followed a movie that had a closed ending, like Michael Myers
Hmm.
died in the hospital. So like they were trying to
Right.
start off on a new foot, but this was supposed to be
Hmm.
the third movie in a trilogy and it feels like a radical departure from everything that was set up in the second film. So I think for
Hmm.
me it just like really felt too jarring.
I think that because it did continue some of the themes of mob mentality, and paranoia that were in Halloween Kills, which were, those were also handled a bit clumsily in Halloween Kills too. It didn't feel like too much of a radical departure because of the continuation of trends, but I do agree that like if they had set this up, at least planted the seeds in Halloween Kills, more people would have probably been more receptive to it.
Yeah, because like it's to me, it echoed the same problem with Dominion and with the Rise of Skywalker that the inclusion of this character, I'm sorry, I forgot his name, uh, the the uh, the new character they
Protege.
introduced and yeah, um, like it just felt like an afterthought. It felt like one
Hmm.
final attempt to breathe fresh life in the series to go out on a high note, and
Hmm.
I don't know, for me,
It
it
was,
didn't
it
work.
was a good afterthought, but I don't think it landed the way because it was an afterthought. It didn't land properly, and then also
Hmm.
in addition to like the afterthought, it was just a poor landing overall of like the final note of the film, and Jason's very anticlimactic. Like it just
Wait a minute, not Jason, Michael.
I
Michael.
see Michael, Jason, Michael. Um, that's how forgetful it was. I thought it just wasn't. It didn't end with it didn't end with a bang. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't like a fulfilled journey at all. Just like I was just like, oh, all right.
That's the thing. It's like when it ended, it's like, how does this feel like a conclusion? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It felt like a conclusion for Laurie Strode for me. I mean, she came to terms with her trauma. She was able to finally actually kill Michael. I thought that their final fight scene at the end was that conclusion for me.
Yeah,
Like
well,
she slayed him. It's done, and it was a very brutal death scene too.
yeah, well, I mean, we already
Yeah.
had that conclusion years ago in H2O, where she finally confronted her trauma and she basically axed Michael's head off.
Yeah, but that was also the ending of Halloween 2, axing Michael's head off. But at least unlike H2O, it didn't have a billion cutscenes. Like it's like jump scares.
Absolutely, yeah, that really annoyed the hell out of me.
Like I'll take these newer Halloween movies over H2O any day,
Yes.
honestly.
Oh my
That
God.
that's fair.
It's uh,
I was more excited to see Halloween Ends than rewatching H2O, so I'll give you that.
Hmm.
But anyway, here are my top three worst. So at number three would be Ambulance. The
I liked.
I just really don't like Michael Bay's style.
I know. We talked about it. Where like I liked the drone shots that you hated them.
It gave me vertigo.
Oh, I'm
I'll,
with Jake
I'll
on that. I hate drone shots. They're the worst. They feel like a vlogger is making this.
Well,
as is Michael Bay.
to be fair, at least it wasn't as bad as the drone shots in the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson.
Yeah, those were actually terrible.
Yeah, you
I'll
actually
get
just see
into.
them like shift, like, oh wait, we missed him, we missed him, we missed him.
I'll save my defense for ambulance for when I get into my worst.
Okay. So with that, my top two worst. Number two would be Hocus Pocus 2. And my number one, this goes to you again, Disney Plus, the live action Pinocchio.
That I couldn't even finish. That was terrible. I couldn't even finish it. I
It
literally
was
got to the part.
the trailers were so cute, and then It was just like,
No, they weren't, OJ. Just one look at Pinocchio when he's moving. It's like the most unnerving.
but Cynthia's voice was so magical in the trailer. I was like, oh, hopeful, and like, and then it's
Did you take an edible when you watched this trailer?
I wish I did.
Cynthia sounded amazing in the trailer. Cynthia, she sounded no, okay.
They
Like,
really screwed up her entrance in the movie too. Like they just treat like,
Yeah, it
oh,
was
I'm here,
terrible.
I'm here. Like,
once it got to those clocks, I rage quit. When it got to the scene with the clock homages, like Pinocchio, like the original Pinocchio, is one of my favorite animated movies and favorite Disney movies. And just seeing it basically get all of the edge get debauched, and then seeing all of the homage, like Easter egg clock with all the Disney properties, I'm like, you're just showing off at this point, Disney. You're just thrusting your properties at us. And I couldn't even finish. I
oh,
was just pissed.
yeah, I was like, I knew we were in deep shit with this movie. Like, right in the logo when Jiminy Crickets comes in and starts singing the lyrics, it's like, wow, like you just couldn't hide it.
Remember when Robert Zemeckis was good?
Right? Because I thought this was gonna be Robert's comeback. Actually, I really thought I was like, oh, this is it. Tom, Robert, like, all right, we're about to do this. This is gonna be a slam dunk, and then it was just like a big L. It was like this is a fail.
What the
Like
hell
Disney
happened?
This is like beyond a fail. This is like
A
nobody looked at
crater.
this and said, maybe we should try something a little better.
Yeah, like
Like
you
I
ruined Pinocchio. Like you ruined Pinocchio. Like
like I don't what the hell happened to him? Like Flight was great. The the walk was okay, but that was more of a theater thing. But like somewhere after Marwin, he just cratered. Like he really cratered.
Yeah, I
And I
I
don't
completely
thought
forgot
know.
he did the
his
Witches
comeback.
movie.
I thought, yeah, it was not good.
No,
Uh,
like it earns the top spot. Like I for me, I really don't think any other movie was as atrocious as Pinocchio, and like it actually made the Pauly Shore Pinocchio much better by comparison, because at least that got me to laugh.
Mhm.
By like
um,
hands up, how many of you seen the Pauly Shore Pinocchio?
I didn't
I've
even know
seen
there
the
was one.
clips. I saw the like my girlfriend sends me the clips all the time.
oh Jesus,
Skitty,
When can
skitty,
I go
skitty,
out on my
skitty.
own?
you guys are kinky.
Father,
Jesus.
when can I go out on my own? I'm like, "Please, no.
Josh, I didn't know you guys were in such kink over there. Oh my God.
I'm like,
Once you see it,
that's what
OJ,
it
you'll
sounds like.
understand.
That's what
Jeez.
it literally sounds like. That's
Oh,
not me pretending. That's actually Pauly Shore's voice.
How does Jake manage to bring Pauly Shore into every single Nocturnal episode? Is
Because
beyond
I'm the Pope of trash here. The first movie I saw going into the new year was Your.
That's not a bad
yeah.
thing.
Not a
It's
bad
not, but
thing.
like I clearly did not go see The Fablemans,
No.
a
Oh my
movie
God.
that was made for me, and I went with Your.
Not your. Oh my Jesus.
Yeah,
You really need to listen to Red Brown's commentary for your.
I'm sure it's a lot of fun.
So fun.
Yeah.
Ethan, it is your turn. Give me top five.
Got it. I didn't listen in any particular
Yes.
order. I just wanted to include the 5 movies I think I enjoyed the most this year. I
Okay.
also say I feel like I didn't watch that many movies this year. I feel like this year is probably the lowest watched movies in my life. Which is why you'll see in my worst list is like so many movies I avoided. But my top 5 movies I enjoyed the most seeing this year. Interesting list. First thing that came to mind was Babylon. I really enjoyed that.
Yes.
That's a
Babylon
hot
kicked
take.
ass.
I'll die on that hill, but I'll talk about it afterwards. Avatar 2 in a complete opposite direction. I loved Glass Onion,
Yes.
Top Gun Maverick, and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I love that movie.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I feel
All
like
of the
all those
hype.
movies were fun experiences. I could sit down and actually enjoy it. And for the most part, aside from maybe Babylon, there was like a really, really strong narrative structure that stuck to a textbook. Babylon was more experimental, and I loved it for doing that. But those are my 5 films.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I felt like Top Gun Maverick surprisingly had a really solid story structure. Like that brought us
Absolutely.
back to when blockbusters were viewed as not just something you see every weekend. That's something it's like only comes out once in a while and enlightens
Exactly.
us.
Yeah, I feel like most of these picks, I don't think any movie except for Babylon, the other four picks I picked were just regular movies because I feel like you don't get any regular movies anymore.
Too
And I
bad
like,
the box office did not agree with you because Babylon blew up.
oh, Babylon was
Because
bombed hard. Even
yeah,
even in
that's
my
because
review, I said, sorry, yeah,
no. I was just gonna say that's because everyone's wrong.
everyone's wrong.
Everyone's
Even
wrong.
even in my
Everyone.
review, I literally put that because my first thought was, I like this. I don't know anyone else outside of like our circle that's going to like this movie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
someone described it in an interesting way where it was like they Damien Chazelle got a bunch of A-list actors and snuck them into what was basically a 3-hour snuff film.
Basically, yeah.
That's a
It had
good.
orgies. It had sideshows. It had like a giant
Underground
love letter
carnivals.
underground carnival. It had like that opening with where like all of the and that was actually too because I did read a bit about how more about how silent films were made to see how accurate this was, where they would literally have all these sets right next to each other, and starlets and actors would just be carried from set to shoot, like within like a span of like minutes, while there's a giant cavalcade of stampeding soldier what the fucks
Yeah,
while like the camera's rolling. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just so batshit and amazing.
it's crazy, right?
No, I really enjoyed Babylon, honestly. Like you said, I think we're in the very few of my the minority. But it was for me, it was a lot of fun. It was just like you said, like oftentimes at a circus, I'm like, oh, we're getting this and now we're getting this. Like it was fun. But no one else agreed.
No one else. I thought it was super funny too because I think the last episode we recorded, I don't know if you ever released it, was about epics and why
Mhm.
epics don't. Why are people trying to do epics still? And then Babylon to me is literally an epic,
It
and I
is.
loved it.
See,
And I
like,
thought audiences can't. Sorry, Jake. I thought audiences just couldn't appreciate this movie because they don't know what the hell an epic is.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean,
and
because
yeah,
here's the thing, like, I really wanted to see Babylon, but I just came off of seeing Avatar 2 twice, once for the review and once with
yeah.
friends. But like, just the idea of going to another 3-hour movie seemed exhausting to me. I was like,
Oh, I'm with you.
I know, like, eventually it will end, but it's like, it's such a commitment.
It is.
So
I will
like,
say,
that's
even though it's 3 hours, I felt like it could have gone for another 45 minutes and be okay. And almost
Yeah.
felt like the scenes were cut a little short, which is such a strange take. But
Right,
I mean, that
considering how long it is.
that's kind of Chazelle's editing style. Like he kind of
yeah.
reminds me a bit of Edgar Wright in terms of how he like quick cuts all these scenes in his
Mhm.
montages. And I'd say in this one, it mostly worked. It mostly worked for me. There were definitely a few, like it felt like the film did have like three different endings
Mhm.
Yes.
where like it could have just ended and it just decided to keep going. But I wasn't mad because there's just so much love on the screen throughout the whole movie. Like you can like especially like that ending montage, which just
Yes.
floored me, which is just the entire history of cinema. And that's where I was even making the Avatar thing. It's like, well, there was Avatar in there a little bit.
I know. I love that. I love the message of this movie too. The message of the movie is the industry might feel like it's dying, but when it dies, a new industry takes place that's just better.
Mm.
Silent died, the sound industry,
Better.
and I feel
Yeah.
like we're at the similar. I feel like right now in movies we're in the same influx, where the old
Mhm.
way of movies is dead. The new age of streaming has effectively taken over.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
gonna be great. It's gonna take some time. We'll get used to it.
Yeah,
I hate
although
streaming,
Mhm.
but like you know,
although I do have to say, Top Gun Maverick might challenge that because that was like a throwback to the classic blockbusters, and it
I
like was the
know.
most successful movie of the year. If Hollywood learned the right lessons from it, we may get a revitalization. What's not a revitalization? A resurgence, if you will.
I hope so. I like
Hope
old
so.
school Hollywood in terms of like the old style of movies. I wish that came back. I'm not a fan of the movies we're making today. I mean, look at most things that are just straight to streaming, Disney's new approach. It's kind of just garbage in, garbage out. And
Yeah,
I think audiences realize that too. I mean, this year was for me, I'll curious for you guys. Maybe not Josh, because I see Josh reviews a movie like almost every day. But like I feel like this is the year I've seen the least amount of movies because I couldn't get the energy to be like, I'll watch this for 2 hours.
Well,
Because
I
I feel
think
like every
again,
time I
like
do, I get disappointed.
for the last 2 years, I think TV has been better.
I agree.
Like
I don't
you know,
know
it's,
about like that. I feel like everything's suffering, but I'll get to
I
mine in a
agree.
second.
Everything, I think everything is suffering, but I think if we had to compare, like in terms of like content of like grade A content, I think um some TV shows were better this year in
Like
general.
which ones would you say?
I actually wanted to take. I was really considering taking Unbearable Weight off or Glass Onion off and putting Cyberpunk Edge Runners on
Hmm.
because I really like that Netflix anime adaptation. That was really good.
Yeah, I
Uh,
hear
Gotta
like
watch
I've been
that.
hearing some good things about that. Like
that's a
I've
great
it's
been
show.
much better than the
very
game.
I've been very on and off about a lot of the anime work that Netflix does because their style just does not
It's
gel with
not
me.
consistent. The anime work on Netflix. It's not
Oh,
consistent.
definitely not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That one's a winner though. Would highly recommend.
did you
It's a
guys ever see
great.
there was a documentary on Netflix about anime, but it was all from the perspective of a hipster white girl, and it just like barely like scraped
That's
the
exactly why
surface.
I didn't see it.
I did not know that was a thing.
But
Oh,
I gotta send this to you, Ethan. So that guy I watch on YouTube, Adam, why yourmoviesucks.org,
yes, I know that guy.
he did a New Year's an April Fool's video that featured some different guy talking about that documentary and how important to cinema it is.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Definitely link me that. I gotta watch that, man.
Ethan, did you finish your list?
Yeah, that was my top five. Babylon, Avatar, Glass Onion, Top Gun, Unbearable Weight.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into your top five worst.
Top five worst. This is again of the movies I've seen or
Right.
at least slept through, right? Because some of these I fell asleep during. And this is in no particular order. Wendell and Wild, Black
Oh,
Adam. Wendell and Wild to me was just because it was such a disappointment. I
did
expected
we see
more
that
from that
together?
director. Huh?
Didn't we watch that together? Were you
We
asleep?
did. I didn't fall asleep, but I expected more from that director than what I got.
True,
Fun
true.
party, but I expected more. Black Adam, the Uncharted movie, Moonfall, and Violent Night.
I liked Moonfall and
Oh,
Violent Night.
I figured Josh was gonna be a little upset at that last one.
I'm upset about Valley Night as well.
I didn't like that
Honestly, I'm
movie.
like I'm not upset, but I'm also like not surprised because I saw a lot of people praising it, and I thought David Harbour was great in it, but I was like so frustrated that it kept on just reminding me of all the Christmas classics instead of making a new one.
Exactly. The one trend I have in my worst list, none of these are particularly bad movies. They're like all kind of middle of the road. But to me, everyone had a reason to be good. Like Wendell and Wild, that director made Coraline. Like this movie should have been better. Black Adam had The Rock, and it was unwatchable.
15 fucking years to get ready.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways,
Remember, OJ, we went to the screening, like how much they hyped this movie, and then by the end, we were both like, "That's it."
yeah.
I know, so because you and I remember when we talked to Rock, I was like, he was so like happy, like that he like, and he was like almost like ready to cry. Like he was like, he finally got to like make this movie, and I like felt so bad after watching it, and even before we saw it, he came in again and like greeted everyone and was just like super excited, and he thought like this is it, like I'm about to like almost like a winner like doing their final lap of their winner's race, and it was just like victory lap. And then it was just like, you think this is a victory? You think this is a win? I'm just like, oh.
And then he got so upset about it that on Twitter he was like, "This is for the fans," and it's like
He got
made a
so
bad movie.
defensive.
It's okay.
But like I remember I watched this video essay comparing Black Adam to Namor in Wakanda Forever about like who's an actual anti-hero.
Yeah.
Like because they point out how Black Adam, like he says he's dangerous, he says he's edgy, he says that he's different from heroes, but he's not.
No. Yeah.
It's very
Nah.
he's very edgeless. It's basically kind of it's sort of how I felt about uh the David Ayer Suicide Squad movie, where you can say you're edgy as much as you like, but unless you actually do something edgy, you're not edgy. Like
Like you killed bad guys. We don't feel
and like
bad about
terrorists
that.
and shit. Like
Yeah.
there's no moral ambiguity in the movie. There's no real like sentiment in the movie. There's no reflection in the movie. It's basically it's a by the numbers superhero film that it literally felt like it was made by an AI.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like Batman kills Wonder Woman. They were all killing people left and right. No one gave a shit. Like the Avengers, everyone's killing everybody. But
I'm pretty
like,
sure Captain America killed more people than Black Adam did.
right? I just like what?
Yeah, but this is the trend that we have right now. Instead of showing, we're telling, we're insisting. Like this is a trend I see happening in so many movies now.
Let me tell you what you should be thinking.
Let me tell you how I feel.
Right, so you can feel it.
I miss The Rock before he got like when he was doing his early action movies like Walking Tall and The Rundown, where
Oof.
he was
Rundown.
like just coming off he was just coming out of wrestling, so he still had that edge to him. And even when he did Pain and Game, where he actually played a character and not just himself. Like
Right.
now it feels like The Rock he's too afraid to take risks. Like it's a joke that he's always playing the
I thought
same
he was
character.
great in Jungle Book. I thought he was great in Jungle Book.
He was fine, but he was still playing Jungle Cruise. You mean Jungle
Jungle.
Cruise?
Sorry, yeah.
But like even then, like he's still playing himself. Like I liked him in the newer Jumanji films,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I
he's
like
still
that thing.
just playing himself. Like he doesn't have any meat to him anymore. I'll happily watch Faster, the direct DVD vigilante movie he did, because at least he's a bit more brutal in that one. Or I'll watch him in Pain and Gain where he's like snorting cocaine in a room full of sex toys. Because at least he's got like there's something there. Like at least he's willing to get a little dirty and he's willing to play more actually unlikable, aggressive characters. I want to see him play an actual villain at least once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, in
1922.
the Mummy Returns, he was the Scorpion King.
Scorpion King, hello.
That's true. Way back
His
when,
first
right?
movie.
Sure, okay, fine.
Ooh.
Okay, one other movie other than
Wow.
Scorpion King, where he was then the hero in the Scorpion King movie.
Which is one of the best movies of all time.
Nope,
Josh,
proof that.
while you're up and going, give us your top 5 best.
Okay, top 5. So many good movies I'm going to be leaving off this list that I really love. Like I had so much fun this year.
Yeah. How about this? After we mention all our tops, like we'll mention our honorable mentions, like things we wanted to include but we couldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Words out of my
'Cause-
mouth.
Okay, we'll do that. I'll start off with my number 5. It's Javar Panahi's newest film, No Bears, because he is like he's a film. One, he's currently in prison right now because he was inquiring about the imprisonment of other Iranian directors, and he's in prison at the moment. And he made this film while he was in hiding from the authorities in a village. And there's like a few stories going at the same time where he's trying to shoot a movie remotely, like through his computer, and also he gets caught up in village drama bullshit because like he allegedly took a picture that would have proven this one guy was having an affair. And at the same time, he's still like it's literally on the border between Iran and Turkey. So he's also dealing with smugglers and the urge and desperation to just up and leave. And he weaves all these stories very beautifully and naturally, where you kind of also don't really know what's real and what isn't, because there's a few things where it's very clearly staged, but also he is actually on the border. He is actually hiding from the authorities. He is forced to shoot films remotely. And there'll be moments in it where you don't really know what's real and what isn't. It's kind of kayfabe wrestling style. And I thought it was handled very beautifully. And for as powerful and dramatic as it was in those moments, it was also really funny. Whenever it got into the village drama bullshit, it was hilarious. Like it's small town. This guy is sleeping with the woman that I'm like arranged to be married with, and it's really funny. And I love the fact that there is definitely sad and dour and reflective moments, but he's brave enough to be funny, and I really respect that. So,
Mm.
my number 4 is I'll keep going. My next one's the Batman. Speaking of superhero films, this is the superhero Batman movie I wanted to see. I've wanted this. Like I wanted a Seven style, gritty, pulpy murder mystery with a serial killer. I'll read. Number 3 is Bones and All. Number 2
Oh, yeah.
is Thank you. Everyone hates that for some reason.
It's really good.
That when everybody hates it, that means you know it's good.
Yeah, I love Bones and All. Keep going. Perfect.
Number 2 is RRR, and number 1 is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, just what I mentioned, like Bones and All was a film that I just thought was so romantic. Like I thought that it was a film where the gore was actually had a point to it. Like the gore really showed that how much these people were like they hate about each other, that were worried about with each other, and that they were like so afraid to actually open up because they had these parts of them that they are ashamed of or regretful of. And that just makes it hard to let another person in. I thought that Bones and All captured that mentality beautifully. And Timothy Chalamet, I swear to God, he's amazing.
Really.
I have not enjoyed Timothy as much since Call Me by Your Name. Like, I think this is like my first thing he's been in that really show like, okay, cool, you are like a legit, like consistent good actor.
Yeah.
He
Maybe with
hasn't
his
been.
later performances, he had to like build a foundation and then like take on some riskier roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I liked him in Dune. I thought he was really solid in Dune, but I mean everyone was in Dune. And
Yeah,
yeah, you're
but
right.
more
Like he,
spectacle.
mhm. But like yeah, this was a film where I felt like this was really like his movie, and also what's her name? Taylor Russell. Like she was just
Star,
incredible.
a star.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
she's
guys
really
ever saw
good.
Wave, but she
I
was
loved Waves. Oh my
a
God.
Waves was a really
beautiful
good one.
film.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's why I knew then she was like, okay, like who are you? Because you are amazing. Uh,
hmm
like yeah, she's amazing. I hope she gets tons of great offers and roles written for her after this because she's definitely a huge star in the making.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like with Bones
And
and All, like apparently, like with its reception, it could have gone either way because that was a gamble film. So if
Yeah.
it turned out to be really good, she may have
mhm.
a really great future ahead.
Oh yeah, she does. Based off those two film critics alone, um, the girl's got an awesome reel already.
Mm.
hmm
So
And
hopefully getting to the bag.
yeah, in terms of the other
Uh,
two, RRR, amazing, colorful, beautiful, wonderful, passionate. You just see so much love on the screen in terms of how it's just not afraid to be crazy. It's not afraid to be wild. There's real like, but there's still these grounded, well-rounded characters that forge this relationship just based on sheer romantic personality.
Mm. Yeah, and that's a hard combination to have at one time.
Like most films that have that kind of over the top style. I mean, I'm talking just Bollywood or Tollywood, just crazy films in general. Like they usually get so wrapped up in their style, they lose character. They lose someone for the audience to gravitate to. And RR had that. Like I have friends that have never watched an Indian film in their entire life, and because of this movie, it acted as the gateway for them to check out like Vikram or the Doom movies or just other Bollywood, like and mostly Bollywood. But I know this one's a Tollywood film. Uh, it's just I'm hoping that this film gets more like gets Indian cinema more into the mainstream.
It seems to be already because a lot of people I've been seeing on YouTube said like, there are a lot of people who don't watch Indian cinema that much. Even some of
yeah,
them are admitting that they don't. And this movie opened their eyes. So you're right. Uh that could be another resurgence in and of itself.
hmm And I have nothing to add about everything everywhere all at once that everyone everywhere hasn't already said.
Now that
a
is a
great
that is
pun,
great.
great
Yeah.
pun, Josh. That was great.
Thank you. I've been thinking
Although
about that for a while.
I do
How
have
long
one
you
thing to
been
say
saving that
about
one
it.
for?
Before you move ahead with your top five horse, I do need to say something that hasn't been mentioned, although not about the movie itself. But I don't know if you remember this, OJ. A while ago, I was enlisted to review Snowy Bing Bongs. You remember that? That was like the Coco Central dance team. That was like it was like an interpretive dance comedy. Like I played it, and like I was going through all my Christmas movies this year, and I decided like, okay, I'll watch this again. The first credit that came up was Daniels Presents, and I was like, oh shit, they were involved with this. All of a sudden, I was like, okay, this is starting to make a little bit more sense now.
Sorry, that movie was so silly. Oh my god.
I was gonna say you had like quite a surprising reaction to that, OJ.
It was so stupid. But I liked it.
Yeah, it's a whole new world, interpretive dance.
Oh my gosh. It's best to watch that movie on something.
Mhm.
Josh, what are your top five worst?
Okay, it's always hard. Like it's hard for me to make worst lists. It is honestly. I mean, definitely Pinocchio, the Disney Pinocchio one that Jake talked about for, and my reasons are the same as his reasons. It is hot corporate garbage that only deserves to be in a landfill. Like
The
whatever the
the
digital
landfill
equivalent
that
of a
is Disney
landfill is.
Plus.
Yes, but yes, basically. What's my number? I think in terms of the ones that disappointed me the most, they them I was really excited for because that one it's already been a year of great horror films. Like I love Pearl, I love We're All Going to the World's Fair, Terrifier 2, just all these amazing horror films. And I'm hyped for they them because it's a slasher movie at an LGBT conversion camp with actual trans actors playing trans characters. And I was like, okay, I'm into this premise, and Kevin Bacon playing a villainous like counselor. That sounds awesome. It is the most toothless slasher film I have ever seen. There's like so many off-screen deaths and jump cuts, and I felt so bad because I'm sure like this was a passion project,
Yeah.
but it just did not come together, and I feel really bad. Like I really wanted this to be a good movie. Like
Hard lesson to learn, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, hopefully at least the premise is recycled by maybe maybe like more experienced horror director because there is definitely something there. Like
Right.
I'm happy the movie exists and maybe it'll even resonate with people. It probably will actually resonate with people, but it just if you're gonna make a slasher film, you got to make a slasher film
Yeah.
with some actual kills in it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, if it's going to resonate with people, they need to also admit that they could have done so much more with this movie. Otherwise, Hollywood
Hmm.
will get the wrong idea that any movie they have with they them representation will turn out like this.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a horror film that has like they them representation that's better written, though this is more behind the camera, I would actually recommend checking out We're All Going to the World's Fair by director Jane Schoenbrunn. I hope I'm pronouncing that name accurately, who is non-binary. That film is legitimately terrifying and captures the fear that comes from online obsession and isolation just amazingly well. Other worst films. Um, Definitely. Oh, The Bubble, the Netflix movie by Judd Apatow.
The one that I
Oh,
surprisingly kept spotlighting throughout all of our episodes last year.
Yeah, that was shit.
what a garbage piece of shit movie. Judd Apatow is so disappointing sometimes. Ugh.
And like, especially after seeing so many great movies that were made during COVID with the limitations they had to deal with and shooting in one spot, dealing with actors that either can potentially get affected, doing the social distancing, and still churning out like really good movies. Having this film, which is basically just a director complaining about the limitations we all have to deal with in very unfunny and predictable ways, was just irritating.
Yeah. It's almost like the movie was trying to be living in oblivion, but it felt like I think with COVID, they needed like another couple of years away from COVID to get some proper hindsight, if you will,
Hmm.
on the production of it. And also maybe not have Judd Apatow be the one to make it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like his films, but he just seems to have a habit of making films way too long. Like
Yeah.
comedies should not be 2+ hours.
Unless
Totally
it's
agree.
it's unless it's Mad 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 World.
True, unless it's that one.
Sure. Yeah.
That was
Um,
like the only 3 hour comedy that I loved.
Hmm.
But anyway,
Any other ones? Those were three movies. One that okay, this one maybe isn't the worst in terms of like bad effects or anything, but just in terms of being the blandest movie I've seen this year that just encapsulates everything wrong with modern action films, The Gray Man.
mm,
uh,
Yeah. Yeah, that was like just think about it. This is like the Russo's opportunity to like make like something new and interesting. It just looked terrible.
but
It
no, it was
had
much bigger than that. This is like the Russo's opportunity to show they could be successful outside of Disney in that whole
hmm.
Marvel bubble, and boy, did they fail.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they
Yeah,
already failed with Cherry, and look what they did here. I
but at
wouldn't
least
know. I
Cherry
avoided it
had like
because it looked really bad.
it looked bad, but like when you talked about like I know Jake, you had Ambulance on your list. At least Ambulance had a distinctive style. At least it had some passion behind it. At least it had like creative camera work, whether it worked or not. Because I think Patrick Williams went into this in a lot of detail in his review of Ambulance. Like that film at least had a lot of energy and you see all the money on the screen that Michael Bay put into it, and it has like a distinctive director identity. The Gray Man just looks awful and the characters are boring and yes and I kept mixing up whether Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans who they were supposed to be in terms of just the way they looked, and at one point I actually thought Ryan Gosling was Ryan Reynolds, but then I realized it was Ryan Gosling. There's just nothing in it. There's really nothing, and it just represents so much of like a lot of these straight to Netflix or even just straight to streaming action movies and blockbusters that just look. I mean, there's no way for me to say it looks great.
Yeah,
No,
that's one area streaming hasn't conquered yet. Is there like direct movies like between Disney Plus and Netflix, and they're getting better slowly. Like there was a few breakouts like this year, like Prey.
very,
Mhm.
very slowly.
But they've mastered this TV show business, but they have yet to master the movie business. So I think 2023 will be hopefully getting better on the movie side of things on streaming.
I
I
really
think what
hope
they
so because this was a year of a lot of disappointments.
I think that what they need to do is just stop releasing so many. Like they just I feel like it's this I guess it's a streamer mentality. You just need content after content after
That is the
content.
Netflix mentality. That's the Netflix is releasing like two movies a week, a movie a week. Like
Hmm.
they're cranking out like Lifetime movie of the week. Like I agree, they slow it down and like take your time, but like
Breathe.
Yeah.
yeah, breathe.
Did you guys I added this, like it's not in my top 10 of favorite movies of the year, but I counted this. The South Park Streaming Wars specials on Paramount Plus. Did you guys see that?
I missed it. I didn't see it.
It's so I'm not gonna curse, but it's so funny. But like basically the kids are hired to build popsicle boats to show that all the farms, all their water streams lead to Denver. But like they're being hired by everybody to make streaming content. And so like
Hmm.
they're like,
Uh,
I don't have enough glue. I can't hold it together. Like nobody cares about the content. Nobody cares about the quality. And then what was so funny about it was that there was the water park, PP's water park ends up becoming the top streaming place. And he
uh,
hires every actor who did a commercial for Bitcoin to advertise PP Plus.
I love it.
uh,
I love it.
And
That's
like
hilarious.
and you guys remember PP's water park, right? And like the water is like
Hmm.
all pee there. All those celebrities had to drink pee to show that it's okay. And they kept
uh,
saying Matt Damon's mantra from his Bitcoin commercial, fortune favors the bold.
I love it. I gotta watch it.
That's
Love it.
hilarious.
But like in a way, it does say a lot. Like, yeah, the quality, it really shows they don't care about the quality half the time.
Mhm. Thank God we had Top Gun Maverick,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so we can know what like an actual personality-driven action movie looks like.
Yeah, and not only that, but like for a movie that has great special effects and also a strong emotional core that almost anybody can relate to.
Hmm.
yeah, I agree. All right, I'll get into my top five.
Oh wait, did you? I'm sorry. Did you name your top one worst film?
One, yeah, I didn't yet.
Oh,
But
sorry, my bad,
like
Josh. Go ahead.
like I said, it's hard for me to make worst of. But I'll just say it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just for
Okay.
being an aggressive knockoff of like the newer Halloween films, but having the
I forgot that
whole.
came out.
Yeah,
Hmm?
Forgot that came out.
everybody
Yeah.
did.
So did everyone else. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love the first three Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, and it's really sad seeing what was considered one of the most like genuinely disturbing horror films that still everyone forgets. For as mainstream as Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, the original is really, really uncomfortably gnarly and disturbing.
Yeah,
And
and
then seeing it.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
And then we have this where it's like, okay, this is just making fun of woke people and canceling, but we're gonna throw an aged Leatherface, and it's like, oh, this is the same Leatherface. I mean, I know it's kind of a tradition where every single Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel is a reboot and meant to be a continuation of the first one.
Yeah.
But this is the one where it's like, okay, he's supposed to be in his 70s. This makes the least sense.
Yeah, it actually makes the previous reboots look excellent by comparison, like especially the
Honestly.
2003 one.
Oh,
Yeah.
just about to Jessica Biel, y'all.
Yeah. But yeah, with this new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, two things. Like you see the trailer and you see them live streaming him like we're about to cancel you. It's like, did anyone look at that and think this movie was going to be good just by that scene alone?
None. No.
No.
Like this was a movie really made by like, this is the thing that old head fans of horror think of young people. It's
Yeah.
like
It's so cynical.
it's just aggressively cynical.
Yeah.
And
And also, I
well,
would say this is less of the new Halloween trilogy and more like Jurassic World Dominion in that sense, where they
mm,
really feel the need to member bury you and bring back aspects that like they couldn't even get it 100% accurate. Either like unfortunately in this case, the original actress from Texas Chainsaw Massacre died, so they had to recast her.
mhm,
But
Yeah.
like
yeah.
to bring her back to kill her off, like I don't know.
And,
It's like it
and
kind
even
of
when they
just
brought
it ruins the ending of the first film.
it really does. And plus it they didn't even do anything interesting with her when she wasn't dead. Like they just made her a lord like they just did Laurie Strode from Halloween from like the new Halloween film where it's also basically just Sarah Connor.
Mm.
It's just not interesting. Like it's really not. And I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I wasn't expecting it to be bad after that trailer, but I guess I was just hoping for a little effort and I didn't see it.
No, like I'm worried
I mean,
about
very
the
rarely do you
actress
get like
again.
a bad trailer and a good movie. It happens. Oftentimes where we're catfish with a really good trailer and then like a terrible movie.
Like for
But
Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
or any of the Ant-Man movies.
Yeah, chances are we're gonna get the exact same thing with Quantumania.
Hmm.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the Marvel train. You know how I get. Don't get me
Hmm.
started. I'm gonna start with my top worst, and then I'll go to my top because I'm still debating on my top five. It's because actually now that I'm thinking about it again, it's like some really good ones. Um, Morbius.
Okay.
Ah,
I'm surprised it didn't make it to any of our other lists.
I just forgot it came out this year. I thought it came out last year for some reason.
No,
I
it
think
was
it was
so
because it
bad.
was supposed to.
It was supposed to, yeah.
Oh.
It was supposed to come out like 2 years ago, and then they just saved the shit show for because it was so much shit the previous 2 years. They're like, let's spread it out.
And let's release it on April Fool's Day.
Yeah, exactly. Psych. It's Morbin time. Just so bad. Like I'm like I like because and everyone I feel like everyone involved and like should know better from Amy
Mm.
Pascal to Jared Leto. Just like everyone here knows what a good movie looks like.
Well, you just mentioned Amy Pascal and Jared Leto. Like, do we really expect them to know better? Like they
Ooh.
had
Yeah, because
bad
they
track
both been a
records
part of good things, right? They
in the
both
True.
past.
in the past. Well, Amy recently, she like at least they let her watch No Way Home. I know Feige does most of the work, but they let her watch Spider-Man movies, so she knows what a good movie should be. And I mean, I guess she struck luck with the first Venom, but like
Well, relative luck. Like she
relative
made
luck,
money with
it's a
it.
billion-dollar movie. Um,
Yep.
Outside of Spider-Man, which is amazing. But and then Jared Leto's an Oscar-winning actor. He should know good material.
But
Just
then
like
came Suicide Squad.
then came.
There you
Well,
go.
I don't blame him for Suicide Squad.
Oh, I blame him like a lot for
He
that.
gave a bad, terrible performance in that movie.
And all the
Most
behind the scenes
generic Joker.
shenanigans just like did not make things better.
And he did
He did.
shenanigans in Morbius. He had everyone like wheel him around in a wheelchair and like treat him as if he was actually like wheelchair bound and they were carrying him around places. Like the backstage stuff from Morbius, it wasn't as egregious as Suicide Squad, but it was still annoying.
Yeah, and
It was still
take some notes
annoying.
from Brendan Fraser. He had to wear like a 300-pound fat suit, and he had to walk around.
Hmm.
Right. You would think Sony would learn their lesson, but like here they go. We're getting Madam Web. We're getting Craven, the Craven Hunter movie with Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm just like,
It's Craven
okay.
John.
I'm just waiting for Venom 3. That's all I really care about is Venom.
I don't care
I could
about
care
Venom
less.
3 at
I
all.
Yeah,
care about Venom.
yeah, Venom 3 is coming.
Yes,
Um,
and it will be amazing. It will be one of the best of the year, and everyone will have to deal with that.
It'll be
oh,
a very Venom Christmas, I can
this
It'll be
guarantee
a
time
you.
Tom
very,
Hardy.
very Venom Christmas.
Gosh,
Next on my list is Amsterdam.
interesting.
Margot had a tough year at the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like Ryan Gosling. Like they're like, you want your movie to bomb, probably put one. I hope Barbie does better at the box office. It
See,
wasn't that
I just
Amsterdam
need
had
to
bad
say
performance.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just need to say I'm a little worried about the Barbie movie because
Yeah,
that
we
trailer
all
dropped
are.
and that 2001 parody like had me on the floor. I was laughing my ass off, and
I
then
think that
I
was
just kind of
intentional,
forgot about
though.
what the rest of it's.
We'll see. I love Greta. I'm sure Noah helped on that too.
Well, he has to. I mean, like they're basically a creative
Yeah,
team at this point.
the creative team is playing. There's a lot of good people. Now you got Margot and Ryan both combined, both box office sales. Like they both can't bring in a seat to save their lives. Um, we'll see how Barbie goes, but Amsterdam didn't have bad performance. It was just a boring movie.
Which
Um,
is a shame because the premise is fascinating.
exactly.
Like an actual attempted white supremacist overthrow of the government should be way more interesting.
Exactly. So I mean, it was a fail on the not on the actor side per se, but like on just script and directing. It was just like I love Christian Bale, I love John David Washington, I love Margot, but like pass.
Yeah,
Um,
it's interesting too because after this movie came out, a lot of people have been doing a retrospective on David O. Russell's filmography and American Hustle, which got so many award nominations back in the day. Like, it's starting to be looked at as a train wreck.
I
yeah,
think that this
I
is.
mean, I think a lot of people look at the trailer when it came out. It was just like it was so glitzy and like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it
O.
was
it's like
Russell
they
is going to
just
be
got the actors
overdue.
together and that's it. Like, that's all they did.
I think O. Russell's going to be going through a critical reevaluation. I mean, the controversies of his sexual assault is coming out now, so
did he also do Joy?
He did Joy.
I
I
think
keep
so. Yeah,
I
he
keep
did do
forgetting about
Joy.
Joy. Joy was a
Yeah,
miserable
Joy,
movie to watch.
Joy
yeah,
was just
Joy.
boring.
Yeah, Joy is also boring. So I was like, oh, whatever. Also next on my list was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Yes.
Wait, as a worst movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that part. I actually love that movie.
Jake is
I
offended. Jake is visibly offended. What the?
I love
I
bodies, bodies, bodies.
I watched it twice. I tried. I really tried.
I have a theory, OJ. I have a theory of why you hate it so much because
Here we go.
it's got our current generation. It got it too accurate.
But yeah, maybe it was
Hmm.
accurate. Yeah.
Look, making a podcast is really hard. You have to like book the guest. You have to make a Google Calendar, and it's a lot of work.
It was maybe, yeah, you know what? I would know too many people here. I know a lot of these people here. Maybe it's just too close to home. I don't know. I could
I
not get
is
into
like
bodies.
I love the fact that this just validates how much I can't stand those groups of people, like
Yeah.
that age bracket, that generation. I would be the serial killer of that movie if it had a serial killer.
That's probably
Ouch,
also
And
why
that's
I hate it.
savage.
yes, and that's why I loved it. It's nice, like feeling validated for my hatred. It's like
Yeah.
made me feel good about myself.
I
Yeah,
love it.
but you know what the thing is? What I think is kind of genius about the movie, like how you said, like you would be the serial killer of that movie. The fact that there was no actual serial
That was
killer.
brilliant. I loved that. It was a great twist.
It
Yeah,
was
like,
a great choice.
and also just it alludes a lot to how we tend to make big problems over what was essentially nothing if we just played detective and actually took a look.
It was the best use of TikTok in any movie.
Yes, absolutely.
100%. I was on the floor seeing this movie in the theater. It was hysterical. I loved it. And shit, what's her name? The actress in there who was also in Shiva Baby.
Oh, what's her name?
Um,
Hold on a second. I'm looking it up right now.
thanks.
One
Rachel
from
Sennett.
Borat?
Hmm?
Oh, Senate.
Rachel Sennett.
Yes, she was hilarious. Like
She
I
was
will
easily the
see her.
standout.
I
She's
will
my
see
favorite
her
part
in
of the movie.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
she's my favorite
Maria
part of the
Bakalova was also really good in this too, especially coming off of Borat.
Mm-hmm. And she was great in Borat too. Like I think she's gonna have bigger things in store.
Yeah.
Well, I think Guardians up next.
Oh yeah, she's Cosmo the space dog.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got a tease of her in the holiday special, which by the way, so I just need to mention this right now while we're on this podcast, and that's brought up. It's still close to the holiday season. I don't rewatch a lot of Marvel's content. I rewatched that thing 4 times. I loved it so much.
James
It was
Gunn is a
really-
genius. We all need to accept that.
Well,
Uh,
here's the thing. I
I,
don't
I
want
love
to
that it
put him
gave
in the
so much
category of
time to
genius. I want to
Mantis.
say
It was
he's
awesome.
consistently good, and I really hope he stays that way.
I agree. Next on my list, Firestarter. I've not felt such a waste of my time in a long time. Poor Zac Efron, he has such a promise going into his career with high school, well, not that, but other things. But he was so promising early on, and this was just like, ugh. And like poor Stephen King, just like, ugh, it was
And poor
bad.
John Carpenter, he did the music for it.
Yeah,
He
just
did the
like
music
it's
for this new one.
Yeah, he did the music for it. It was like the main selling point, and like most of the ads I saw for the movie was like featuring original music from John Carpenter.
Interesting.
yeah, it's just not good. I was just like, I was like so disappointed in myself for actually offering these people money to see this film.
Oh, Jay, you paid to see this?
I did because I was
This
like,
is why AMC A-list exists.
oh, I was like, oh, like, what's wrong? I was just like, no, OJ, you did bad. You like
Hey
messed
everyone,
up. Like
Jesse
you
Shade from Awfully Good Movies.
you like messed up. Like it was like it was bad. It was so bad. Um, and then lastly, Halloween Ends, which I just saw yesterday.
You saw
I-
this like right after Christmas?
So Halloween Ends like yesterday on the plane, like yesterday into today. Um, my friend was sitting next to me on the plane. He's like, "How are you watching the movie? Because you keep fast forwarding." I'm like, because I'm like, because I already know what's gonna happen. Like, because it's so obvious. Like, I never like have like fast forwarded so many times to like stop and watch. It's just so bad. Justice for that franchise. Maybe you'll get a reboot in 20 years.
No,
And
we end it. Like that's it. Halloween ended.
there's no
You said
true
it in the
end in
title.
Hollywood.
Unfortunately so, but like no more.
There's no true ending in Hollywood.
Listen,
You know this.
I know, but these endings are not only bad, but they're embarrassingly bad. Rise of Skywalker had a bad ending. Jurassic World had a bad ending. This had a bad ending. Texas
Franchises
Chainsaw, like we
break.
can basically say, is dead in the water at this point.
We all
saw
know
some
that
back-
when a slasher franchise says it's the final chapter, it sticks
It's
to
never
it,
the
and there's
final
never
chapter.
more movies after that final chapter.
Insidious: The Last Key. Bullshit. It's not the last key. We got another one coming out.
Exactly.
Freddy, the final nightmare. Friday 13th, the final chapter. Halloween ends. There'll be like a Halloween Revelations or something in like 6 years.
Give The
Yeah, I'm
Hangover
hearing
some
that
credit.
all.
When they
I'm like,
said it's
City's
ending,
bad.
it ended.
That's true.
Yeah, it was just shit. It was a shit. And then after that, I watched The Lost City, and that was much better.
A chaser.
Oh yes, oh Shannon. All right, my top five best. This is tough. I'm looking at like five good movies. I'm having a hard time. All right, this is in no particular order. Um, Bones and All, love Bones and All, so good. Timothy's a star, Taylor's a star. Um, like I can't say enough good things about this movie. Chloe 70, my good girlfriend.
Yeah.
She
If-
is she please give Chloe her flowers.
If-
She's been killing it for so long.
if you want to do a good double feature with Bones and all, pair it with Terrence Malick's Badlands.
Yes. Yes.
Ah.
DJ.
That's
Love
a
Malick.
So
really
good.
that's like young outlaws in love going through Americana. Like that's a great double feature to do if you're ever in the mood.
Love it.
Next on my list, I don't know if I just watch it too many times or if I actually like it, but maybe it might be a combination of both. Glass Onion, very good.
I loved
Um,
it.
my mom on Christmas, I got there Christmas Eve to like be with my family, and she had it on. She's like, you watch Netflix, right? I'm like, yeah. Um, you pay for it. And I was like, she's like, they had this new movie with Janelle Monáe, and like I'm watching it for the 10th time. I'm like, and so we like literally it was on repeat all through Christmas Eve, all through Christmas, like families, like 10, 20 people over there. Like she just had it on and on and on. We watched it like 10 times
Wow.
within like 24 hours. That's just my mom does. She likes one movie, she'll watch it till she can't watch it anymore. But it was like, oh, this is really good. After like watching it 10 fucking times, I'm like, all right, I like Ryan Johnson, you're a good film director. Like I will slowly forgive you for Star Wars.
Still the best of the new movies and one of the best Star Wars films. Sorry, not sorry.
Hot take.
Honestly,
Will not
it's
stand
a
by
Deal
hot
that.
with
take,
it.
but I
Deal
agree
with
with
it.
it,
Deal with it.
honestly.
it's a hot
Thank
take,
you.
but I don't disagree, but I don't strongly agree.
Yeah, like I mean, I agree. Like I still remember like feeling very off when I watched it, but I will say that in hindsight, it's brilliant in some ways.
I agree.
It's just
I'll take it.
unfortunately within a popular IP and in the middle of a trilogy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Next on my list, the Batman.
Woo!
Almost
Um,
so unprepared. You have your Blu-rays.
I know. Gosh.
Wait, we can present our Blu-rays? One sec.
Do you
I
have
didn't know
any,
we could.
Josh? I'm not sure.
I don't.
I don't.
I'm
I have
messing
a
with you.
few. I have.
oh, much nicer than my Batman.
Um,
Well,
okay. My plaid shirt technically counts as the Blu-ray of the
it does
Batman.
count. I'm slightly cheated. They do send me all these because of the critics shit. But
Lucky.
Nice.
join a guild, guys. You guys all qualify.
We should do an episode like not to be released, but just like a step-by-step on how to become part of the guild.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
true.
I got to do that. I think I review enough movies where I could probably qualify.
You do, both of you, all three of you. I don't review movies, but all three of you
I do review
all
movies, but
review
it's all for
movies.
Art of Brooklyn.
Yeah, but you all review enough to be a part of the guild. So please join
I
the
probably
several
will.
guilds.
I will. I
Yeah.
will pick your brain on how to do that.
Yeah.
It'll definitely save me money on the discs.
Same
Yes,
here.
we'll do that on the staff call. On the staff call.
Yeah.
But yes, the Batman, I can't say enough great things about it. Robert Pattinson. We tend to do this audiences with like when it comes to Batman. We tend to like, oh no, they casted Heath Ledger, he's gonna suck. Ugh, Jesus, like we're not gonna boycott, and then like it's the best thing that ever fucking happened. Same thing when we did to Ben Affleck when he was cast. We were like, oh, Ben, the guy from all those bad movies, Geely, and then he was the best fucking thing that ever happened. We did the same thing to our Pats when he got casted, like, oh, he's so skinny, blah blah blah. And then he again killed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
everybody
truly-
killed it in that movie. Like even
Yeah,
Colin
everybody.
Farrell as the Penguin.
Colin
And Paul
Farrell,
Dano. Paul Dano was
Dano,
terrifying.
Except for when he was
Jeffrey Wright
singing
was
Ave
really
Maria, that
casting.
was a little too comical.
Okay. Good point. That's true.
I rest my case.
Like
Good movie though.
like most comic book fans are, so nefarious about like race bending, and even with Jeffrey Wright playing Commissioner Gardner, it was like no
Gardner?
one playing. Oh yeah, Gardner. Shout out to Jennifer Gardner.
Jeffrey
Even
Wright.
even with Jeffrey Wright playing the commissioner, no one complained, and because she's such a great actor, and even when you look and think about him, like you think he looks like the character, and with Zoe Kravitz is probably my favorite Catwoman since Michelle Pfeiffer. Not to shit on Anne Hathaway because I thought Anne did a great job with what she had. Zoe just looked mesmerizing. Probably her best role ever on screen.
Yeah,
I feel like there was something
I would
else that
agree
she
with
was
that.
in that I really liked her in. That's
probably.
outside of the
I'm
Hunger
inclined.
Games.
I'm inclined to agree. I'm sure that because I did also like her in that High Fidelity series that she did. It only
Here,
lasted one season, but she was really good in it. But
yeah,
yeah, I would probably say this is my favorite of her roles.
Same.
yeah,
The movie
I think,
was centered on her almost at times. You could even read it as
yeah.
a Catwoman movie over a Batman movie. But
Yeah. What I will say though, this movie did two great things that with Batman that I felt like the other movie that we kind of like got distant from with the latest movies we got with him. For one thing, the use of shadows. He's actually
Yeah.
hiding in the shadows again,
Yeah.
and he's a detective again.
Yep, he's actually solving a mystery and reviewing clues. And also, it just emphasized that being Batman sucks. Like, I like that this was definitely not a power fantasy superhero film. Being Batman sounds like a nightmare existence in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
Pattinson is just, he's a recluse, he's miserable, he's, he's like really not taking care of himself, and he's a dick to everybody. It just makes Batman like he really feels like a reluctant hero, and I really love that.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And I think it's so sad that we're not getting a DCU build around his Batman because I think he's so strong and so cool. But
No, honestly, I actually love that we're not getting a universe out of this, just because
Same.
we've seen that universes are very hard to keep up, and it will eventually go stale. But we at least know we have one solid movie.
Yeah,
that's
and honestly, like this is a just the fact that this is just Batman's story. This is his world. I mean, it looks like we're going to be exploring the world a bit more, like through the Penguin series that's coming out, and we are getting a sequel, hopefully. I like that. I like that it's just Batman. Like I don't like as much as I love to see all the other superheroes in the DC universe and want them to have their moments to shine. I like that we'll just have straightforward Batman mystery films where he's just solving crimes and he's just doing detective work. It's like the Knives Out movies. If as long as if we're just following Blanc solving mysteries, I'm happy. If this is just us following Batman to solve mysteries, I'm happy.
it works. Yeah.
same here. I love that.
Next thing you know, of course, everything everywhere all at once.
Okay, that's the one
Um,
Blu-ray I do have. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I'll get mine
uh-oh.
too.
Oh my God.
I have like no DVDs, guys. Like I don't keep anything physical.
Same.
I
These will
prefer
be
your poster on it, your cover, honestly. I mean, this is the Walmart exclusive because the one that is the usual Blu-ray, it's the red background with just Michelle Yeoh on the cover.
I love that we all have different covers.
Yeah.
Ethan, hold up like this so it looks like air.
The OJ has the
That's the
coolest
thumbnail
cover.
for this video.
So wait a minute, Josh, you said that was a steelbook?
No, it's the Walmart exclusive version because Walmart has this deal where they have like their own versions of 4Ks and Blu-rays. It's
Oh yeah.
like
Oh,
I got this one. I just didn't like the cover, but yours is the coolest cover.
this is the inside for your consideration.
Yeah,
Love
you know,
it.
you know what's interesting? Like I'm looking at yours, Josh, and I can already tell like they're going to release a Criterion of this at some point. They'll probably
Oh
go with
God,
your design.
I think
I
they
have
will.
I
But
went best picture.
Yeah, I
yeah, I
love
think
yours too, OJ. That is like one of the
honestly,
coolest designs.
That's nice.
there's like these services that make custom slipcases for Blu-rays, like the custom versions of these, and I did see one that had the cover of OJ's, and I'm thinking of getting a hold of it.
Ah, well,
Interesting.
Yeah, just
um,
imagine the Criterion release, like it will be like bare bones, like just maybe one googly eye in the middle.
And it'll be an actual googly eye too, like one that actually Googles.
Or even better, just the scene of the rocks.
just seeing The Rock.
I could picture it being The Rock.
There's so much I love about this movie. One that Michelle Yeoh is getting all her flowers finally. She's been consistently like killing it, and I think now she's finally getting like the A-list attention that she's overly dude. Um,
Hmm.
this film also proves how much of a great actress Jamie Lee Curtis can actually be outside of the
Hmm.
Halloweens, in addition to her work in the previous Knives Out movie. Jamie Lee is a great actress.
Also, the guy
And
who played Short Round in Indiana Jones, he was really
Ken
good in this
Kwan.
too.
oh yes, He was amazing. Is he the one that's going to Loki season 2?
Is he?
I think he is. Yeah, he's the one that's going to Loki season 2.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, all right.
So
Marvel
he's
shade.
blowing up.
He's blowing up.
I might actually have to watch Loki season 2.
I'll be
unfortunately.
careful.
Well, I mean, like
Unfortunately.
we're all so invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have no choice.
I have so much
Yeah.
catching up to do though on the MCU. Loki season 2. Not
You are
excited.
you are
No,
leaps and
yeah. You have
mountains.
time.
So didn't the Russos produce everything ever all at once?
Did they?
Pretty sure. Let
Mm,
me hold
I'm gonna take a look right
on.
now. They
Yeah,
did.
they did.
Mm.
Okay, so they actually did do something outside of Marvel that was creative.
Yeah.
yeah,
They
as an
just didn't direct it.
independent producer. We're talking about their lack of creative talent.
Seriously, with Cherry, with the amount of voiceover narration just to tell us what we already were able to see, like, what the fuck, man?
All right, I'm
Yeah.
cheating on this last one. Technically, I couldn't pick. But I love. But I will. One, I'm picking this one because possibly because I know Jordan.
Know where this is going.
Jordan used me for this. But I love Nope. And
Yay! I have
no,
that one too, actually.
I'm glad.
Jordan
I'm glad.
he made the name character after me. I know I'm the only OJ that he knows. Um, and the other one, oh, there you go, same one.
Hmm.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait, finally, I got the Blu-ray.
You gotta go 4K with it.
This will never be opened.
Mhm.
And then my real pick is Till. I love Till. I thought what's this young lady's name? I forget her name, but she was amazing. Danielle Deadwiller. She was amazing in this. And Till was produced by Whoopi Goldberg as well. Um, I love a lot of things about Till from Whoopi. She's also in the movie. Haley Bennett's awesome in this. I couldn't say enough good things about Till. It's really good.
Mm.
Really neat because the director also did Clemency, which I adored a lot. I really need to see Phil. That was one that I was like really upset that I missed.
Yeah, Till is awesome. Please see Till. I believe it's still in theaters, or if not, it's already on digital. But
So it got distributed by Universal, so that would be Peacock, right?
Peacock. Oof. All right.
I love that Peacock. Good old Peacock. They got Halloween Ends and they got Till.
Ambrose.
Empress.
Yeah, put
That should actually I think to go my worst movie of the year.
Mm.
Rose. Rose, honorable mention on worst movies. Let's go in honorables.
by the way, I have to mention, so there's this guy I work with at Art of Brooklyn who also acts occasionally. He
Uh-huh.
revealed to me a couple days ago he had a cameo in Bros, and
Uh,
they gave him a line that was like so contrived, but he ended up improving one. It's like during the scene where like they were all riding on the streets. He's the guy who's yelling, "Give him the flag! Give him the flag!"
ugh.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I went to go watch Rose with one of you guys, I think.
Yeah, well,
Was
It
it
wasn't me. I saw it off of Peacock. I liked Bros. I thought it was funny, and it also revealed some dating issues and stuff that I
Yeah,
related to a
like
bit.
I like Bros the script. I just don't like Billy is not very likable as a person. Um
interesting?
in real
and
life,
it translates in real life and it translates on film, I think. He lacks a certain
Ah,
likability. Had I think he had put because he wrote the movie or co-wrote at least. Had he put someone else in the lead role, I think Bros would have did better.
yeah,
mm.
and then he blames straight people for not for his movie not succeeding.
Yeah, no, blame you because you are not nice or like
Yeah,
nobody, but like you.
well, here's the thing: like you're marketing to the LGBTQ community, so your numbers are not going to be as strong as like let's say The Notebook. So
Right.
it's like you got
Or
to know
you
who you're marketing to.
put someone more famous in it, or like someone who's like a darling sweetheart who can charm media and audiences, and like maybe you weren't the right pick to lead this movie. Like I'm not saying you Billy shouldn't be a lead in a movie, but maybe this was the wrong vehicle for you to be a lead in a movie.
Yeah, and The
I just
Lion
thought
King is not something to have under your belt. Like, that's not the best thing to have on your resume at this point.
Totally
that's
agree.
true. I thought that his performance was fine in it. I thought that, yeah, he wasn't the most likable, but he definitely was, considering how self-awarely frustrated and exhausting the character was meant to be. I thought that he captured that pretty well. Like, I thought that the film, like, I felt if you had a character that was too likable, or at least a performer that was too likable, it wouldn't have gotten the more biting and frustrating dialogue as seriously. So I thought he actually captured it. He made it sound a lot more natural, I guess, because it was his actual voice. I don't know anything about him in terms of like who he is in real life. If I did.
Well, the fact that he's blaming straight people for his movie flopping is should
I
say
can,
like how petty he could be.
It's comical. Also my honorable mentions, the Banshees of how do you say
mm-hmm.
it?
Of
Of
Inisherin.
Inisherin.
And
Yeah.
Sharon,
I still need to.
Oh,
That's another one I still need to see. I'm
funny
sorry.
as
Yeah.
hell and depressing as fuck. I loved it.
yeah, it was. I loved.
It's funny.
Now I need to
People
get
tell
back.
me that something is like so depressing, but I actually would not feel depressed at all watching it. For some reason, I feel like it would resonate so well with me.
It will resonate very well. It balances funny and heartbreaking in a beautiful way.
Yeah, and I love those two, Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson.
Hmm.
And last on my honorable mentions is X. Um,
Or worst or
Yes.
best?
on my best.
Hmm.
I just thought that was twisted and fun, and I love Mia Goth. I think she's doing like fun, exciting things and choices, and I think A24 and like they do no wrong mostly in my book. Um,
Hmm.
solid film for Mia, and good all around.
Yeah.
Um, Jake, who else is on your honorable mentions list?
Okay, so honorable mentions, like, so are we doing three for worst and three for best, or like, are we just doing random?
Do one
Uh,
for you, I think, right?
It's honorable mentions. Like, you can't just list stuff if you feel like it,
yeah,
I
go
guess.
Okay,
for it.
so one that I definitely have on my honorable mentions for best is The Whale.
Mm.
I know a lot of people are like really iffy about it, aside from praising Brendan Fraser, but I will agree the movie wouldn't work so well if he wasn't in it. But I thought the movie itself was very interesting in the way it.
I thought Sadie Sink was amazing, and
Yeah, I don't know, like her, I felt was the weakest, just because it felt like every
oh
scene needed
really?
her to be like abrasive. You know, it just
Mhm.
felt like five times in the movie she just gets up like, like it felt like it happened way too many times than it needed to. Like
Teen.
she was still good. I'm not saying she was bad, but
Yeah.
like definitely, I definitely would spotlight Fraser or Hong Chow much more in their roles.
I love Hong Chao.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
really hope she has a great career ahead of her because she was great. The only good thing in Downsizing, and she knocked it out of the park with her scenes in this.
But wasn't she also in the menu?
Yes, she was. I,
Yeah, Hong Chao. She's having a good year.
I still haven't seen the menu, honestly.
I thought the menu was great.
Me
Also
neither.
my honorable mentions, I thought the menu was great.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I think with like because I just saw Triangle of Sadness and then the menu came out and I was like, it was basically the same mentality I had with Babylon, like
Yeah.
another movie that's about attacking the rich. Like, is this going to become a trope now? I mean, I'm all for stories like that, but like one after the other is a lot, you know.
I feel that.
Hmm.
But I'll definitely see it though.
yeah, I definitely highly recommend the menu. It was very solid.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Honestly, two other best ofs for honorable mentions are Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Like, sorry, OJ, that's a hot take. I really liked that one.
It's okay. It's okay. I
And
will. I'll take it.
The Bad Guys. Like, I felt I laughed a lot at this movie. It's like, for one thing, I will admit the world's not that well developed in it, but I loved Mark Maron's voice acting it, Sam Rockwell. Like, I
Hmm.
felt that it was just an enjoyable film, and the animation was kind of unique. I mean, have you guys seen it?
I'm not.
I think
Mhm.
I think it was on Peacock. Now it's on Netflix. I watched it like three times. It, I have not stopped laughing at those scenes.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And in terms of honorable mentions for worst, Blonde was one of them.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Blonde was interesting because I did think Anna de Armas was absolutely brilliant in it and deserves all the acclaim that she got for her performance. But dear
Really.
God, its script and direction were pretentiously terrible.
Yeah, you know what the thing is? It's like I knew what they were going for, but I felt like they took so long to get to where we knew it was going, and it just felt like it would never end.
I found it really exploitive. Like I know there's a lot of discourse right now about how the film exploits Marilyn Monroe's trauma and the issues with basically coming up with a sexual assault scenario that wasn't based on anything real that happened because it's based off of a fictional book. And it felt like it just felt like it was shock for the sake of shocking.
Yeah,
And it was basically it's like, okay, like actresses are sexually exploited in Hollywood.
We know that.
We know. And I mean, there was a movie. I mean, I know She Said came out and that film bombed too. And that film was addressed all that and was an actual movie that was based on reality. That was based on that actually happened. And I even like the directors, and I was like, I mean, I liked the director's previous work. I thought The Assassination of Jesse James was a brilliant film,
it was.
but it was just so it was so self-satisfied and try hard. And while there were a few really good shots in it, it just felt it. I mean, it was pretentious. Thought it was pretentious.
Oh, how about the scene where she's talking to her the baby she's about to abort?
Yeah, the talking fetus being like, "Mommy, why did you kill me?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, oh my god."
That's like something you would see in a pro-life movie.
I've seen
Yeah.
pro-life movies where they haven't even done that in pro-life movies I've seen.
Well, I guess points to this movie for taking a giant gamble. I mean, it's terrible, but it was a gamble.
They
Yeah.
tried, I guess.
I'd respect it.
And I have two other movies for honorable mentions for worst. That would be Lightyear.
Okay.
I see OJ's face. Yep, it's another hot take. I did not like that movie at all.
It's fine.
I didn't watch it and I have no reason to see it. And I say this as someone who really loved Toy Story.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
for me,
you're right.
like I was just like so thrown off, like because the opening thing is the text that says this is the movie that Andy saw back in 1995. I'm watching it, I'm listening to the dialogue, I'm like, this is a 2022 movie. Like there is no
100%.
effing way that this is something made in 95. Like
I agree with you, Jake. It's unfortunate because of like people often will blame the representation in it, and that's like the problem with like that being such a failure in Hollywood because like people work so hard for that kind of representation. Like Josh was explaining earlier with like they them and LGBTQ plus I blah 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 blah. And then it was just like people often with Disney audiences are blaming that when it comes to their new failed properties. So I hope people don't mistake the representation for why the movie didn't work.
yeah, I
No,
think
the movie was
Absolutely.
boring.
this movie would have also worked
Representation has
better
nothing to
as
do
a
with a
short.
boring movie.
Like it would have worked
But
better as a short, and if it wasn't about Buzz Lightyear, if it was just like
I would agree with that. That's true.
Mhm.
That would be a great short and didn't need to use the Buzz Lightyear property there.
yeah,
But it
like
was a
the
boring
fact that they
movie.
kept name dropping all the lines from Toy Story, it's like, stop it with like Michael Jordan in his PSA, stop it.
I agree.
And finally, for honorable mention, Don't Worry, Darling.
Okay.
Don't
Another
need to
movie,
watch it.
another movie where I
I
felt
think
like
we'll watch
they
that too.
took so long to get to where we all knew it was going to go. And I was actually talking about this with someone. It felt like a very undercooked Twilight Zone episode. It's like the idea is there, but the cake's not ready yet.
Brutal, but true.
Yeah.
And
It felt like
that's our job
it
as
felt like a
critics.
unaired episode of Black Mirror that like they like watched it in the end. They're like, nah, we don't need to add this to the season.
Yeah, you know, that's actually a good way of putting it.
I was just like, okay, but they made it a long ass movie, and it's not due to Harry acting because everyone was like, oh, is Harry Styles? Harry Styles is he good? Is he good? Um, he's fine. It's just the material.
Florence Pugh was just too good in it that it was like too easy to compare the two of them.
That's
Yeah.
too true.
Like he's not. I mean, like he can act, but he's not like acting's not his number one thing, and it really
No,
showed.
but was he terrible? Not at all.
No, but just in the worst aspect of 2022 is you don't make an impression, and he didn't make an impression. You know, I was mentioning before about watching Yor. Like I loved watching it. Like some of these movies this year were so boring that watching something as terrible as Yor gave me joy. That's why I'm the Pope of trash. If like something may be bad, but if it's interesting and entertaining, I will watch it. I will watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
not over and over again, but I will like gladly watch it again later on than see whatever Netflix drops next, you know? Or
Absolutely.
even worse, Disney Plus. Let me get
Uh,
off my soapbox. Who's next?
I'll get
uh,
I'll get on mine. I'm okay with that. For my
what
for
you
my
think?
honorable mention of best, I don't even want to say a movie. I Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I love that. That was good. I thought that was a well-contained single season. That was 10 episodes. Starts off a little slow with the first two, but then really gets into its speed in the last eight. Uneven at times, but still one of the most memorable things I've seen this year. And then I'd have no other honorable mentions for good. Honorable mentions for bad, I would say half of 2022, because I've seen so many movies, I could not remember what I saw this year. I literally had to go through what did I review this year for the Nocturnal. Also, is there a watch history for Netflix or something? Because I have no idea what I saw because everything was so boring. Like Jake was saying, every movie I saw this year took way too long to get to the point. I feel like everything's moving way too slowly. Nothing keeps you on the edge of your seat. That's why the movies I did enjoy were the ones that did keep me on the edge of my seat. But
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, and by the way, it was interesting because I was watching something about the movie Home Alone, and just like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, so much footage was shot, and they cut so much out to make it the
yeah,
movie it is today.
yeah.
They should take some notes with that. Like, just because you have a lot of footage doesn't mean everything has to be in there. As long
I
as
fully
you
agree.
pick the best stuff and tell it in a and put it together in a cohesively crafted story, we'll be cool with it.
I fully agree. I just worry that like it's like a different topic, but I think that audience and critics' tastes have changed from like 10 years ago. I like the movies that came out 10 years ago. I could pick a ton of them, some of my favorite movies of all time. I think that critics have just utterly changed their time,
I
their
mean,
taste.
that's always going to change. I mean, the way that movies are just paced and edited, if you go back to like the 40s, 50s,
Yeah,
70s, it's always
huge.
going to change. That's just an
Yeah.
inevitability. It's just about like what changes are going to actually produce great work and which ones aren't.
Yeah. I just can't appreciate the changes that are being made now.
Yep.
That's my
Hmm.
problem.
That's because there's nothing to appreciate. That's the problem.
I
Yeah.
would like to think that, but I'd like to think I'm just missing the joke.
Well, here's
Whatever.
the thing. Like to quote, I finally saw Boogie Nights for the first time when I went to
Okay.
go review Avatar. I finished Boogie Nights right before that.
Good movie.
What?
One
That's
one
a
of
great
my
movie.
one of my favorite
That's a
quotes from
brilliant
that.
film.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes from that
Whoa,
is
I remember seeing that in the theaters.
if it
Me
looks like
neither.
shit and it sounds like shit, then it must be shit.
I feel like you're related to Burt Reynolds' character in Boogie Nights a little bit.
Yeah, and ironically, he was the one of the cast who was like, "No, this movie's crap."
Oh yeah, he hated the movie and he won an
Oh,
Oscar for it.
He sold his Golden Globe like because he really didn't like it that much.
I can't believe
Wow.
you just saw Boogie Nights. Oh my God.
But yeah,
Uh,
but anyway, yeah, like no, here's the thing, Ethan. If someone tells an unfunny joke and you don't laugh, everything just happened naturally.
Fair.
And that's what I worry about lately when it comes to critics and audiences. I feel like there's a great divide and everything's starting to mix and match. Where
I think so.
it's like people are afraid to criticize. Like, no, we need to criticize because then we'll know what's good and what's bad. Like there has to be apples and oranges. I mean, art is subjective, but nobody's treating it subjectively. They're like, no, this is the way it's going to be, and all you should think that same way.
I don't
100%.
know if anyone's afraid to criticize. I feel like there's nothing but criticism when you go online, like especially with all the ways people have been able to express themselves now, especially different from 10 years ago where social media wasn't as prevalent and not as relevant. But like now people I think, are criticizing, I think, more than ever.
Yeah, but
There's no good criticism though. I think that's the issue.
yeah,
Like when I read,
Yeah,
that's why the
definitely.
only film, like honestly, the only film reviews I'll seriously read these days are probably you guys's, Jake and Josh, because like I
Thank
don't,
you.
I if I read a review from A.O. Scott, it's like 75% summary of the film, one paragraph of his actual thoughts, but that's it.
Right.
Whereas
yeah,
if I read your guys' reviews, I actually hear what you thought about the movie, which is what I wanted.
yeah, and what you were going back to what you were saying, OJ, how like people are criticizing now more than ever. They're criticizing the wrong aspects. That's the problem.
Hmm.
Like what you were saying before about Lightyear, how they would be pointing the blame towards the representation rather than the actual movie itself. That always seems
Yeah.
to be the hot topic. Whereas, like, let's say I mean, I'm gonna do a hot take right now. She-Hulk. I hated it. I hated it so much, and
I
yet,
I think a
loved
lot
it.
of people did.
and yet,
Oh,
people were
really?
saying that it was. People were arguing that the visual effects looked terrible because of the way we objectify women. Like, no, they looked terrible. They looked unrendered.
Well, they look terrible because of how Marvel treats their special effects team.
Exactly. That's the point
That's a
I'm
good
trying to
point.
make. And like,
I'll
oh
say
my
the quality of the acting allowed me to overlook that, but seriously, Marvel, you need to treat your VFX people better.
they
I
need to
know,
treat
like
their
they've
audiences better
openly
too. Like,
complained.
make some high quality stuff again. Like, going back to what I was saying, also Ethan, about unfunny jokes. One thing that the funniest thing that came out of She-Hulk was Tatiana Maslany saying that the showrunner was a genius. And I'm like, if she was a genius, she would have made a comedy that was actually funny.
Sure.
I found it funny. I thought
Really?
She-Hulk was funny. Yeah, I mean,
Really?
it wasn't. I mean, I wasn't my
I like
favorite.
She-Hulk as well.
I
This
mean,
is
I
this is why
didn't
I
think.
like this is why I like Josh on this podcast because me and Jake we have very similar perspectives, but OJ and Josh are gonna be more entwined with one another.
I mean, it's not my favorite Marvel series by any stretch, but
No,
I did find it honestly funny. Like I thought that the self-referential jokes worked. I thought the breaking the fourth wall worked. I thought did like my favorite was the use of Mr. Immortal and having it be like he tries to escape divorce laws by dying to try and overturn like from death till you part and trying to subvert that. I would have liked it better if it had more legal based jokes. But I thought that was funny. I thought the bottle episode was funny, and the fact that oh my god, a Marvel show with a standalone episode. Finally, thank you. I've been wanting that. I thought that the finale it was a little bit self-serving, but I thought it was still pretty well executed in terms of critiquing the MCU as a whole for its conveyor belt like storylines. I do get that there's a difference between calling attention to a problem and actually making fun of a problem. But I thought it did a little bit of both, or at the very least, it did what it could within the machine that it's working in.
Well,
And I thought the actress who played She-Hulk did a great job.
I'm
And more
sorry.
Megan Thee Stallion. I want more Megan Thee Stallion in anything, honestly.
uh,
Did you just take an edible right now, Josh? I can't
I
believe
did
I'm
not.
hearing everything that you're saying right now.
I did not take an edible.
I
I
agree
am.
with everything that
I
Josh is saying.
thank you.
I thought the series does have fault. Like I thought they made She-Hulk's character a little too like what's the word? Mary Sue.
Well, let me
Too
put it this way. No, like no professional lawyer would act the way that She-Hulk acts in this. Like if she was in a law
yeah.
suit, that would be one thing, but she
I
was an official lawyer.
He was a little
yes. No.
self-deprecating. Yeah.
Yes. No lawyers will have their superpowers come out and get into a fight scene in a court. You're correct that no real lawyer would do that.
Not only that,
Actually, that's
she's a
not
pretty
entirely true. I
shitty
can think
lawyer
probably a few.
too.
Yeah, you probably want to vet your clients a bit more before like taking on a suit involving
Because
faulty
she's
equipment.
too busy being on Tinder dates.
Look, life work balance is hard. Okay, I'm pretty sure all of us have experience where it's like, okay, I need to come into work the next day, but I've got this really good date, and if it works out well, I kind of want to maybe I can call it like a little bit. We've all had that life.
Right.
I say it, the thing that's recording right now.
Oh, we have not stopped recording.
No, we
This is
have
a
not.
2-hour episode again. We're at 2
I'm keeping track. We're doing good. We're doing good.
Okay.
And besides, we're ranting about She-Hulk. Like it does not count in our conversation. Like at least for the top.
Um, Josh, get into your honorable mentions.
Please.
So in regards to my honorable mentions, I'm gonna focus more on my honorable favorites. I don't really have many honorable least favorites because most of them just involve okay, the movie's bland. And like there was that Chris Helmsworth Netflix movie that he did, Spider. Yeah, I'm barely remembering the title.
I don't even know what
Miles
this is
Teller.
now.
Yeah, Spiderhead. Yeah, that one
Okay.
I fell asleep every time I tried to watch it.
Hell yeah.
And also what else was like an novelty story? The greatest beer run ever. That's kind of has an interesting story, but it's basically trying to be an Oscar bait movie until the director gets to make another Joker movie. Um,
Wait,
It
this was what's his name?
Todd Phillips,
Peter
No, no.
Farley.
Jeff Farley.
So wait, not another Joker movie, no, the Green
Oh no,
Book.
he didn't do Joker. It was the other Farley brothers did Joker.
No, no, that
He was
was
the one who did the.
no, that was Todd Phillips who did Joker.
Ah, thank you. He did. I'm mixing it up. He did Green Book.
There you go.
Hmm.
He must have thought this
So
would be another runner for Best Picture.
exactly, and it felt like it. And those are my honorable least favorites because honestly, this year I saw a lot of films I really loved. Like there were that I had to kind of like dig to find them because you're right. A lot of American films, they really do feel like they feel conveyor belt. They feel the same. And I just looked international. Like one that is that came out in the tail end of 2022. But I caught it when I was in Dublin this past year. It was A Quiet Girl. It was about this little girl who comes from a very neglectful family, and she's asked to stay with her relatives that live more in the countryside. And it's a mix between an English speaking and Irish speaking. And it's a very heartfelt and beautiful and loving movie. And just seeing her like start to forge her relationships, I thought was really touching and well done. And the child actress was absolutely astounding. There were some other honorable mentions. 3,000 Years of Longing. I thought that was creative. It was bold and brilliant. And I love getting to see, until we get another Mad Max movie, we get to see more George Miller try something very, very different. And it was astounding and phenomenal. And just, I saw stuff I never thought I'd get to see in an actual big budget movie. Like I would have to look for like those weird Conan knockoff gladiator movies to see some of the crazy shit I would see in this film. It was wonderful. What else was like an honorable favorite?
I
Terrifier 2.
disagree. Oh my gosh, I hated that movie
Okay,
so much.
do
I thought George.
tell.
I was busting at the seams as you were talking. I'm just like, George is a visionary, as we all
Hmm.
know, but he's the visionary when he's making Mad Max films. Outside of Mad Max, sometimes I was like, what the? It was like, no, it was just like it was like so empty. I no, I didn't get it. Maybe
Ethan,
I
I
missed
think we're
it.
seeing a betrayal here.
I
I,
mean, I just thought like it's a movie about storytelling. So it's literally just going to be people in a room telling stories. But it helps that Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba are charismatic enough actors that I could feasibly sit in a room and listen to them telling stories about fantasy and morality of like can you actually make a wish? Like what is this a good idea? And that's what I was kind of happy about. We actually had a main character who's genre savvy. Like I feel like in most of these movies where like you get three wishes, and it's like, have you ever read a book like The Monkey's Paw or something about how making wishes can be a bad idea? We finally have a character who's like, you know what? Most of these scenarios don't work out well. Why should I even make a wish? And we get stories that are based around the idea of is it a good idea to use this magic? And I will admit, I don't think I would have liked the movie as much if it wasn't for Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba because they're charismatic enough to hold their own in that sort of situation.
um, yeah, I won't slander Tilda and Idris, who I love both dearly. Um,
You can if you
but
want to.
Mhm.
no, we got to keep the lights on. And I want to be allowed to talk to them again.
The best connections are the most honest ones, and that's our jobs as critics.
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, they're
I mean, I
professionals. They
love them
appreciate
too, but
feedback.
they've been in shit before. Like
Absolutely.
Idris Elba,
oh
like
yeah,
I
they
still wonder why he was in Cats.
He had more. He had fun. He had fun.
right. The hair and makeup was a blast.
I will say though, like unironically, excuse me, he did look like he had a lot of fun in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
He did. Movies can be fun even when they're trash.
But back to 3,000 Years of Longing though.
Yeah, it just felt like a lot of like just sitting through it felt like work. Um, it was almost on my top five worst.
Mhm.
Mm.
Wow.
So I'm just trying to, okay. Oh, wait.
But I have one way where I want to close it with you guys with the film you're looking forward to the most in 2023.
Oof.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, it's interesting because it feels like we have less of them this year as compared to this past year. Like at least a lot of the IPs that we grew to love, like don't have anything coming out this year, except for like maybe Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That style, that
Yeah,
title still
we have
does not feel
4
right.
Marvel movies coming out.
Ugh.
I am excited for Oppenheimer.
That's my
Yes,
number one.
that one
That I
looks like
want
it's
to
going to be
see.
really good.
Oppenheimer looks really interesting. It's nice to see. Like this feels more like a Christopher Nolan project that I would be really invested in because I was disappointed by Tenet. I was disappointed by Dark Knight Rises,
Oof.
and I'm hoping this could be more of a return to form for Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
I think Christopher Nolan's like, I think he's the best director working today without an Oscar.
Yeah, he keeps things cinematic.
I
That's
love
true.
Tenet, by the way, for context. I thought it was a great movie. I thought he should have won an Oscar for Dunkirk, which is a phenomenal movie.
Dunkirk was fantastic.
Yeah. Also, Dune Part 2.
Oh, you're right. I'm
Doom
really
Part
excited about that.
2. Oh, Spider-Verse, the sequel. That looks good.
Oh, that looks
Ooh.
amazing. There's a lot of great movies coming out then.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
all
we got
those
another.
Winnie the Pooh.
We got another.
Honey.
Absolutely. We got another Ari Aster horror film coming out. I'm excited for that. It was initially called Disappointment Boulevard. Now it's called Boo is Afraid. I'm excited for what uncomfortable feelings he's going to give me. Nick Cage plays Dracula in Renfield.
sick.
I know. I just got an email about that. I was just like, okay.
So wait, who's going to see it? You are?
No, I won't.
I'll go see it.
Somebody on this podcast
Josh
will
is
go
clearly
see
the
it.
biggest Nicolas Cage fan here.
I
I'll see
know.
it.
I know
Cage
you are.
there.
Um,
Didn't you call
I
Nicolas
don't know.
Cage your favorite actor of all time?
Yes, I do, and I did, and yes, he is.
Okay. Just wanted
it's
to
honestly
clarify.
not too surprising because he can be really good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Are you
Yeah,
excited for Cage to return to Marvel in Avengers: Secret Wars?
I'm curious. I am very intrigued. The only Marvel film. Wait, is the new Captain America film coming out this year or not next year?
That might be next year.
2024.
Oh, that's like the main. That and Guardians. I know the new Guardians film comes out this year. I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, 2024 is strong for Marvel. You got like it's gonna be strong, but 2023 you got the Marvels, which I'm excited for Nia DaCosta personally, but I'm hearing it's very silly like Thor.
Ugh.
And then you have Quantumania, and then we have Guardians.
Guardians.
I'm excited for
forward to.
Guardians. Like James Gunn will be like stealing his deal with Marvel, go out on a high note, and then he's gonna run DC, and I'm confident he'll do good with that.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
worried
see.
with him running DC just because like I like him as a filmmaker. Like I want to see him make more movies. Let's put it that way.
It's gonna
Yep.
be an interesting press run. Like he's gonna be like super. It's like everyone's gonna be asking about DC the whole time.
Well,
And it's
what's
gonna be
been
weird.
what's been cool is on his social. It seems like he's dedicating his social media to debunking rumors. Like every single Instagram story he has
I
is
think
him
I think
saying
that I think it's the wrong approach, honestly. I think he needs to lay off the social interaction, honestly.
Yeah, that's
Uh
what got him canceled in the first place.
yeah,
yeah.
but there's something to be said about actually say like he's not insulting anyone. He's literally just saying this is true, this isn't true. Because I think he realizes that on the internet, if you don't call out something that's not true, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and get out of hand. So I think
True, but I
nipping it
think
in
they
the
need
bud
some
is
autonomy left.
that's true. It does give everyone else a bit more control.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think he needs to like reel it in and channel his inner Kevin Feige a bit more and you know, let the work speak for itself, I think. Get his cohesive world building going and tell everyone what his big, plan will be ultimately, which I'm sure hopefully he'll announce probably after the Guardians press run.
Yeah.
mm.
Is
So-
no one excited here for the Chris Pratt Super Mario Brothers movie?
I am.
Really?
I am. I actually really want to see that.
No, I'll tell you what I'm excited about.
Oh.
Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
This is
I
directed
don't know
by
what this is. What is
Elizabeth
that?
Banks directed a movie based on a true story about a grizzly bear that does a shit ton of cocaine and goes on a rampage. That is the plot. It is based on a true story. I'm going to love this movie.
Okay.
They're still letting Elizabeth Banks direct.
Who
Yes,
knows? Maybe this will be her calling.
maybe this will be
Uh,
her calling.
uh,
Look, people need to work.
they do. You know what? We can't keep making Pitch Perfect movies. So
Yeah,
Can't keep
but
making pitch perfect movies.
now imagine, like, just hypothetically, that cocaine bear bombs. She's gonna blame all the anti-drug bears for not going to see it.
Or I think the logical solution is to have a crossover between Cocaine Bear and the Pitch Perfect movies.
on
Ju-
I
Peacock.
think that's
Just
the only way. Look, I just want to see this bear in a singing competition.
Yeah.
she gets in a and the bear gets in a fight with Amy.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying we get a co-writing credit right now.
I
If
Mm.
you're
look,
watching
they
Elizabeth
already
Banks,
they already jumped the shark with Pitch Perfect 3. Like, why not?
yeah,
We-
why not?
Now they have the Pitch Perfect TV show on Peacock. It's
I keep forgetting they did.
But there's no grizzly bears in it. Or cocaine. Actually, I haven't watched it. There might be cocaine.
Listen,
Mm.
it's action point logic. If it has a bear and it has drugs, it's gonna do well.
That's
Mhm.
true. It's true.
I'm gonna edit
Bears
that line
and
out
drugs go hand
because
in hand.
action point did not do well.
Yeah.
But it did.
What other movies are coming out? Creed 3. That actually looks pretty good. Michael B. Jordan gets his directorial debut.
Yeah.
I'm excited
Interesting.
for
Yeah, I'm kind of
I'm
interested to
excited.
see, like, that he's, because just like with Stallone directing the Rocky sequels, that he's going to be directing his own franchise. So that's kind of
Stone is not happy about this one though. Stone does not support this.
yeah.
Wait,
Because
he doesn't? I thought he wasn't supporting the other spinoff, the one that was supposed to be a spinoff of Drago's kid. I thought he was cool with Creed 3.
No.
Oh shit.
it's a little muddy, like, because apparently it's not against Jordan, but it's against the producers. What's his name? Erwin Winkler. I think that's
Yeah.
who he had his beef with.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not doesn't have his blessing. But we'll see. It looks everything I've seen so far looks really solid. Jonathan Majors is in like his his god mode right now. He's gonna be killing this like everything he's doing is amazing.
I'm excited
Which
for
is why
him.
I'm so nervous for with Peyton Reed handling Kang. I'm just like, thank God Jonathan Majors will have his own movie, with King Dynasty to like just in
Mhm.
case Reed fucks this up. Like he probably will.
But
He'll have a chance to
I'm
shine
sure
with
you're
Dan.
not sitting well with the fact that he's going to be the first Marvel director to have a trilogy of movies in the MCU.
Ugh.
Oh crap, that's right. I didn't
No,
notice that.
no. The Spider-Man director, what's his name?
John
No,
Watts.
in the
John
MCU,
Watts.
I mean,
Oh, you're right.
But no,
John.
Spider-Man is in the MCU.
Oh yeah, John Watts. Yeah, he directed all three.
oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, John Watts.
shoot. I forgot.
That's a
John
random
Watts is pretty
fact.
good. I like him.
Okay, in that case, let me rephrase that question. How do you feel about Peyton Reed being the second director to have a trilogy of movies in the MCU?
You know, I'm not sure he's even the second. I think he might be the third. Well, that's not true. Just the Russos got 3 movies, but they didn't get a full trilogy.
Like, given one character and then given a trilogy of movies.
It's
James Gunn will
disappointing.
be the third one.
It's so disappointing because he has flopped twice, whereas like other directors, like the couple who did Captain Marvel 1, they got taken off, or
Yeah, because Captain Marvel 1 was so bland.
right, but it still did better business in both Ant-Man movies.
But listen, with
So
Marvel, for that time leading up to Endgame, like, each one was going to be a guaranteed success because each one was like a piece of the puzzle.
no, because remember, because there was supposed to be like Infinity War, then Ant-Man Wasp, then Captain Marvel, then Endgame, and Ant-Man and Wasp still couldn't cut it.
It still made money though.
Yeah, but not close to what Captain Marvel did.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, the $1 billion movie. Ant-Man and Wasp, I think, made like 500,000, 600, something like that.
Yeah.
That is interesting though, like why it didn't make that much.
Yeah, because it's smacked in between Infinity War and Endgame, just like Captain Marvel. So I was just like, I'm thinking if we're basing off of numbers, like Peyton Reed's invited back. Peyton Reed, I think, is I mean, it's probably deeper than what we all know or can't even talk about. But Peyton Reed's more, and he's inbred it with the Disney family, and I think he has better friends. You know,
Mm.
it's a little bit of, I think it's a little bit of a political thing, but
Yeah.
I
It's
just,
absolutely a political thing. Like I feel like that's a major
Yeah.
driving force behind Marvel right now.
yeah, I just pray this is like he gets it together on this one because this is like the most important one. He has so many like he's introducing Kang, which is like a big thing, especially with King Dynasty coming up.
Well,
And
I mean,
King's
like, didn't Kang technically get introduced with Loki?
Well,
he
this is
did
introducing Kang as like a plot point for the future series because Kang in Loki, he was kind of a surprise reveal,
right. We didn't even
but for
call him
this
Kang.
one,
They didn't even give the name King and Loki yet.
yeah, this
Um,
one is going to establish like this is going to be the next Thanos. Like this is going to be the
right.
next big Marvel bad. The next whole phase is going to be building up to. And because I think that even the Marvel executives are a bit disappointed on how Phase 4 turned out, they're probably going to go back to being a bit more linearly focused, where there's an actual driving endpoint for the phase rather than it just being a series of loosely interconnected stories.
Yeah.
So
So
this is there's gonna be a lot riding on this.
yeah, this is an important film in establishing Kang as that new Thanos type character within the MCU and the new big bad. So I hope Peyton Reed is and he's doing MODOK, which is a big, Marvel favorite. And already what he's doing with MODOK is always like I'm already like, what? This is the point for MODOK? Yellow Jacket? Okay. Is being now turned into MODOK. I'm just like, so, and you have Bill Murray in this. We got, Michelle Pfeiffer is taking a bigger role in this one as well.
Always a
Um,
good thing.
which is a good thing, but I'm just, hopefully he juggles this. And now we got Cassie Lang stepping up. So, we're setting up Young Adventures and she's suiting up as Stature. So there's a lot of things he's doing. It's much more than he's ever done before. And Peyton Reed has shown glimpses of talent, especially particularly with
Mhm.
his Mandalorian episodes. Um,
Yeah. I'm
so
surprised now that you're like now singing his praises because as far as I know with you, you've had
what?
nothing but
I'm not saying
disdain.
that man's
You've had nothing
praises.
but disdain for Peyton Reed.
I do have nothing but this thing because he's fucked up Ant-Man and the Wasp, two founding members of the
Now it's
Avengers.
coming out.
Um, but I will give the man props when
That's
due.
instigation at its best.
Um,
Hey, look, it's
right?
because Peyton Reed took over Ant-Man that Edgar Wright he got to do last night in Soho.
Oh yes, I wish
So some good came from it.
something good coming from it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm trying to be optimistic because there's a lot riding on it.
Which is interesting because the trailer didn't grab me like at all.
It did not grab me, which is like,
Nice. It's nice seeing a bunch of screensavers be a movie.
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. So we'll see.
Hopefully they gave the artists enough time to render this stuff for the final products. I hope.
Ha!
And it's a
Yeah, they
lot of
did.
it's a lot of rendering. And it also looks like very Guardians-esque and very Thor-esque because we're in the quantum realm. Like, and
Someone
then
can
we're
probably
here.
make a super cut, like maybe take Bill Murray's scene in the trailer and just incorporate in Guardians 3 and no one will miss a thing.
See, that's a
And
problem for me. Like the fact that you could take the outer space of Guardians, this quantum realm, and Asgard, it all will look the same. That's like a real
that's the
problem.
problem.
Like
So we'll
like
see.
why are we like the quantum realm has no identity for me. Like it just does not look interesting. I don't want to spend time here.
Mm-mm.
And on top of that, like supposedly we might get a Fantastic Four tease at the end because that's going to be a time period movie.
Did they choose a director for that, by the way?
Yeah. The guy from WandaVision,
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
he did
Alright.
all the WandaVision episodes. And as no one, I'm not sure if anyone knows, but Fantastic Four will be set within like the 60s or something like that.
Oh,
It's
cool.
going to, yeah, it's going to be a back in
But
the
will it
day
be
movie.
set in New York?
Probably, yeah, from what I'm
Right.
hearing. From what I'm hearing, yes, it'll be set in New York and will be set in the 60s. And then um I don't know if they'll be stuck in the Quantum Mania or something or space have like a very space base probably to it where they're stuck in
Oh,
space somewhere.
it's all
Or I
getting
feel like they're
big.
gonna like I feel like they're gonna make an appearance and become like major players in Ant-Man. Like it's gonna turn out that they were trapped in the quantum realm all these years, and just like
Well,
Michelle Pfeiffer's character was. And then like they'll suddenly appear, they'll be a big part of the climax, and then it'll be like you'll see the Fantastic Four again in Fantastic Four coming out this year.
right. So that might come in. But who knows? I mean, Fantastic Four, they haven't been cast yet, so that rumor's probably not even true. Um,
That wasn't a rumor, I just made that up.
Now it's a rumor.
Now it's a rumor.
But you know, but King has ties to the Fantastic Four, as we all know.
Does? Mhm.
Strong ties. So we'll just have to see where this all goes. But
Just imagine if this episode goes viral and then that ends up starting the rumor.
I love it.
Oh my god. I'm
um,
becoming what I hate.
bodies. Thank you guys so much for watching the Nocturnal Movie Club as always. We will be back when we can, and stay tuned. Peace.
Welcome
Good night.
2023.